in our society is this idea of where we derive collective power, and when we feel powerless, we realize that our power actually comes from our ability to act collectively, to associate with other people. And it's one of the reasons why it's such a fundamental cornerstone of being able to participate in politics is that freedom of association, and that freedom of association requires privacy. And what we've seen is across the entire political spectrum, people come forward against this legislation. And so one of the voices as part of that spectrum here, I'd like to introduce to you our next speaker is Wes Regan, and he is Executive Director of one of the local business improvement areas here in Vancouver, and also the Vice President of a clean tech company. So please, Wes.
Thank you very much, Paul. I gotta admit, I'm a little nervous right now. It's intimidating to be out here with so many of you here today, and my heart's racing a little fast right now. So I'm not sure who else is watching. So I want to add a touch of levity, no matter how serious the issue is today. I want to start by acknowledging that we are on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, the Squamish, the Burrard, and Sturgeon. I also want to acknowledge all the effort that the BCGEU has put into laying the foundation for this National Day of Action. Thank you. They've been incredible, getting the momentum going, pulling in lead now, and then after that open media to make this a National Day of Action, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite a while. Now this is a nonpartisan rally, and there's power in the symbolism of this being a nonpartisan rally. There are people here from all walks of life, from all income levels, from all different perspectives. We're here because we're not just some fringe special interest group that can be cast aside by Joe Oliver. We're here because we're a broad cross-section of Canadians. We're the majority of Canadians who are very concerned about what we see happening in Ottawa. Now, the paranoia, the hyperbole, the fear-mongering that has been coming out of Ottawa, do you agree with me that the actions the Harper government has taken and some of these MPs is over the top, is absurd? It's ridiculous. So then if you agree with me, I want you to take a moment and let it all out and laugh with me. In 3, 2, 1. That's right. We're laughing at you, Harper government, because of the way that you've responded in apoplectic, just completely over the top absurdity. And this is the tragedy, because this is a serious issue, and it really deserves a serious, genuine conversation. We are not being allowed we're not being afforded the opportunity to have that because of the hyperbole, because of the sensationalism, because of the completely over-the-top, one-sided dialogue coming out of Ottawa. We deserve better. I think the fact that there are so many people here today and across Canada is a testament to the fact that the Harper government has underestimated both the intelligence and the concern of Canadians around Bill C-51. And it has underestimated our courage to stand up here and take that stand. It has underestimated the courage of citizens, of scientists in her mid-50s who stood up on Burnby Mountain to oppose a pipeline, even though the full weight of a multinational corporation came crashing down on her life. While our First Nations brothers and sisters who are standing proudly on their land, denying entry to surveyors because they have not been invited, because they do not belong there. Recently, the RCMP leaked document, or someone found it rather, and in that document it referred to us as a growing threat to national security, or Harper's agenda. Now, in that it said that we are a radical anti-petroleum movement.
Yeah, we are!
I think this misses the mark. I think this misses the mark and it's too narrow. I think that we're a clean air and drinkable water movement. I think that we are an honor the treaties and respect our communities movement. I think we are a fair wage and green energy movement. And above all else, else, I think that we are a pro-democracy movement. And a time now when this country has never been in a pro-democracy movement more. So thank you for being here today. Let's stand together moving ahead and make this a central issue. Call your friends, call your family, no matter what their political stripes, and let them know that this issue is central to our future as a country. Thank you.
Call for this nationwide day of action, and I just want to give a shout out at this point to our allies at Lead Now, who've done an absolutely amazing job of mobilizing across the country in the last few weeks. And it's been incredible to see the enthusiasm, the energy, and the response they've received from people across the country. And this demonstration, the demonstrations across the country would not be possible today if it weren't for the organizing activity of Lead Now. They've got a tent over there if you want to check them out. Our next speaker is a local anti-poverty activist, Tamara Herman.
Okay, hi everyone. I want to start by acknowledging the Squamish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh people who have welcomed us onto their territory today. I'm just a community organizer, like so many of you out there, just somebody who really cares about the kind of place that we live in and the kind of place that we're building. So I want to start out by asking, how many people have ever been to a rally like this before? And how many people have been in a march that shut down a road before? And how many people have stood up in a blockade to stop a pipeline or a logging block or a deportation? And how many people have supported liberation movements in other countries and people fighting for their rights there? So if you're at all like me, you're probably wondering what this bill is going to mean for you and for the movements that we're all part of and that we're all supporting. And so we've heard today, and we've all been reading, that anything that has any threat to national security will be targeted. And by targeted, I mean we're going to be subject to increased surveillance. Our records are going to be shared among 21 government departments, and that this so-called evidence can be used against us. And we're going to be subject perhaps to preventative detentions, to no-fly zones, to no-fly lists. We're going to have our charter rights revoked, and we could even end up in a secret trial. And this is people like you, me, and our neighbors and our community members. So the problem with Bill C-51 is how vague national security is and how that's linked to terrorism. But what's national security in this country built on? It's built on 500 years of colonialism. It's built on a legacy that includes Japanese internment camps, the Chinese head tax, bans on homosexuality, and laws that would be considered ridiculously sexist today. So even though these atrocities were part of our so-called national security at one time or another, what did people do? They stood up and they fought like hell, right? And they won some of those battles. So many of the rights and so many of the movements for justice and the freedoms that we have today are built on these past struggles. And there were laws that were broken along the way. And we're here to send a clear message that that's not going to stop. And that this bill is not going to stop us from making a better world for tomorrow, too. And so, what's our national security built on today? We all know it's still built on the expropriation of Indigenous lands, racial profiling, criminalizing refugees, environmental destruction, and a growing gap between the rich and poor that's leading to an explosion in poverty that's going beyond the downtown east side into all the corners of our city. This is the Harper platform, and I want to hear how many people are going to keep fighting it regardless of what Bill C-51 means. That this isn't scary. Organizers across the country have been talking about what this is going to mean. And in Quebec, after those huge student movements that so many of us saw, the government passed a law and started ticketing people for participating in demonstrations. And numbers on the streets dissipated. We already know that we're being watched and monitored. So many of us know that the government has been doing surveillance. They've been targeting all sorts of organizers, Indigenous rights organizers, even NGO workers, infiltrating demonstration, monitoring online communications. And so Bill C-51 is going to give this more teeth. And people are worried that it's going to bring a chill on dissent. So this is a tool to profile. And it's a tool that's going to be used to amp up surveillance, to criminalize people fighting for their land and people who are fighting at the front lines against some of the huge social struggles that we're facing today. It's a tool to use against migrants and refugees, many of whom were displaced from their own country, ironically, because of a global system that Canada benefits on and that the Harper government has called global Canadian security. So it's a tool that's going to target people taking action against the destruction of so-called national security in all its forms. And it's a tool to shut down those of you who are here today. So now is a chance to fight and say we're going to fight against this bill, and if the Harper government pushes it through like it is, and if the Liberals refuse to actually even vote against this bill, we're going to keep organizing, we're going to keep resisting, and we're going to show that it takes more than a repressive, ridiculous McCarthy-era bill to keep people from rising up against this. Thank you.
Reverse order here, but I would like to give a greeting. Very honored to have Audrey Siegel come up and give a greeting and make some announcements. So thank you, Audrey.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say Hajsetka to each of you for being here today. Because we're not just here to say we don't want your C-51. We're here to say we want safety for everybody. Protectors, not criminals. We are warriors standing up to this totalitarian regime that has moved in to desecrate every one of our rights that are ours. And I would like to say, I don't always like having to be here at these things. I want, and this is why I'm working towards creating a reality that represents who we are. I feel overwhelmed and I feel angry and I feel frustrated. But even more than that, I feel hopeful because in every face in this crowd today and everyone who's here with you, I see that we have no option to succeed, and we will succeed. I'd like to say hi to the organizers for making this happen today. Thank you for making time for me to be here to do my work, because part of my training and the reclamation of my identity that was stolen a couple hundred years ago is that I get to have the fun task of doing welcomes. So tonight, I'll do the reverse, I get to do the close. So, Mitzel Tlaquilam, Atanash, Matquiamash, Tamok, Tanawel. I Quinish Quellens, Quincy Quinsnala. Slam Tanok Quinisqui. Talitsanat Humatquiam. Quai Wheaton, it's Lena August, Thinna Seat Lad. Ni Hehe. At Inash, Qualmukov, Kamo. Welcome to the traditional unceded lands of the Musqueam people. Be here with you today, to see all of you here, and I say Hajka again for standing together, for standing united, for not allowing ourselves to continue to be divided and defeated. I stand here to say I am the granddaughter of the late Stephen and Selena August. I stand here with thousands of years of ancestors, as does every other person here. Call on those ancestors. Call on your ancestors to be here to work with us. My brain is going in about 1,000 directions right now, so I would like to sing a song, and then it just jumped right out of my head. Yes. in honor of warrior Stomachson. Right now, I just have a really quick announcement. There are defenders of the land in Lillooet right now outside of Merritt. And they are blocking bio-waste from being trucked in from Abbotsford. There's a facility in Abbotsford. Now wait, what you can do is support them. They are calling on people to come up to their blockade. There's a Facebook group called Friends of Nicola Valley, or Friends of the Nicola Valley. And you can also look on In Solidarity with All Land Defenders. There's pictures and videos and directions on how to get there. They're there right now, blocking it. So look that up. Thank you.
I just want to thank all the speakers that have been able to come today. I want to thank the thousands of you that have turned out here for this demonstration, the tens of thousands more across the country that came out to protest Bill C-51. And I know that standing together, collectively, united against this legislation, we can win. We can tell the government that it is unacceptable to tell us that we need to trade our civil liberties for an idea of security, a false idea of security, and legislation that does nothing to provide that. And our civil liberties are, in fact, the security in our society. There are many things we can do to keep the pressure up on this government. You can be assured that this is the beginning, not the end, of our protest against this legislation, and we're going to keep going until this legislation is withdrawn. Everyone here, it's all our responsibilities to go out, to talk to the people that we know and that we don't know, to educate them about the effects of this bill, to write our members of parliament, to write our local politicians, but more importantly, to mobilize with the people in our communities next to us to ensure that this legislation does not come in. I have a couple announcements. This Saturday at 1 p.m. There'll be a march against racism on Commercial Drive. So I think there's a Facebook event, there's some groups on it. And as well, this Monday, there's a Game Changers at SFU Harbor Center on the Get Out the Youth Vote. And so I want to apologize to everyone that wasn't able to speak. I want to apologize for anyone I've missed in introductions. But thank you all for coming. And I think this is a wonderful start to the end of Bill C-51. Thank you.
Coming Monday. So we'll keep anyone informed who wants to attend, but if you could bring in your picket signs, that would be great.
They're the terrorists.
I'm definitely a terrorist.
She's oblivious.
I got that one, yeah.
I do like it. This.
Zoom in! Zoom in!
Actually, I'm grateful.
I got a bomb dropped on me, so I think we're
Oh wait, even like a yeah, right.
Everyone's kind of sitting there because it makes sense.
Exactly. Never be defeated. People united will never be defeated.
People united will never be defeated. People united will never be defeated. People united will never be defeated. People united will never be defeated. People united will never be defeated. People united. We don't want Bill C-51. We don't want Bill C-51.
Secret police. We don't want no secret police. State. We don't want a fascist state. We don't want Bill C-51.
We don't want Bill C-51.
We don't want Bill C-51.
We fall way out home, 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 way out home.
fear. We reject Harper.
We reject fear.
We reject Harper.
We reject fear.
We reject Harper.
We reject fear.
We won't go.
We won't let our charter go. Hell no, we won't go. We won't let our charter go. Hell no, we won't go. We won't let our charter go.
Hell no, we won't go. We won't let our charter go.
Hey, hey!
John, my husband is covering the protest for CGB.
By Colorado law, you have to run
Some kids, they don't ever have a really like that was 6 times.
There was
Harper's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go. We won't let our charter go. we won't go. We won't let our charter go. Hell no, we won't go. We won't let our charter go. No, we won't go. We won't let our charter go. We won't go. We won't let our charter go. Hell no, we won't go. We won't let our charter go. Hell no, we won't go. We won't let our charter go.
We won't let our charter go.
Like
Streets.
red sweater.
Our streets. Our streets. Our streets. Our streets.
Walk to the
Our
corner.
streets. Our 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 streets. This is what democracy looks like.
Get his picture, get his picture, get his picture.
Just let him go.
You guys are bothering. You guys are not. We're not. Not for you. You're holding.
Are you upset? Somebody needs his diaper changed.
We defend your right to dissent.
Is your diaper full, hon?
Harper supporter right there.
This diaper.
democracy looks like. This is what 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 democracy democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. Until we win. We won't stop until we win. We won't stop until we win. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Where else? Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Harper's got to go, hey, hey. Nice to see you. Thank you. Woo! Block this sucker! Yeah! Woo! it! The federal court buildings right there. Federal court right there. That's the federal court building.
We've seen the democracy in our country has totally, absolutely disappeared. I think about when I was young and what this country was like. It's a totally different country.
Sorry about that.
Democracy in this city, in this fair city of Vancouver, as we know it, and in fact, province-wide and throughout all of Canada, has completely disappeared.
Shame!
So what I wanted to make a point today was I wanted to make this to be a global movement, a global statement today too, is that we realize that the greatest peril and the greatest urgency on this planet right now is climate change. And that's something that all of us individuals, we really have to put our attention to. We have to make sure our government hears us. There are so many vulnerable people on this planet that are suffering and dying every day just because of climate change. And it's something that can be avoided. It's something that we all can work towards and we can all make our voices heard. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm marching today, because I want to march for all the people that don't have a voice.
They won't have a voice under C-51.
And I want to not take a thing that a lot of people don't realize, that if the tar sands are allowed to expand to the way that our government wants them to, by the year 2050, it won't matter what one other country in the whole world does with our CO2 levels. That's how important it is to stop the tar sands. And that's why Line 9, they have out in Toronto, they're in solidarity. We're stopping Kinder Morgan here, we stopped Edinburgh, and we're going to stop XL too. So one more thing. I just want you all to know that you have the power. Every single person has power. Don't let anyone or anything ever tell you that you don't have power. If you put your heart into it, you know what you're speaking, you know what you're doing is right, then do it. Don't care about anyone around you. People power, the power of one person can change the world. And that one becomes two, that two becomes four. So let's all of us make sure we keep our voices heard. Let's keep marching on the streets of Vancouver. April 11th is our next march, okay? And so we're going to wrap it up by saying that don't let C-51 take your power away. Don't let the government take your power away. This is our democracy. Democracy is as the Constitution, and the reason that people died in all the wars is so that you and I have a voice. We need to use the voice. So thanks everybody. Let's use our voices. Okay, thanks a lot.
Another street action at Commercial and Broadway, Monday at 4 p.m. Everybody is welcome to bring their banners. We have a working group against Bill C-51. And if you have time on Monday, come down to Broadway and Commercial Drive, and we'll have another street action there. And let's keep up the public pressure. No to Bill C-51. When I say Harper, I say defeat. You say Harper. Defeat!
Harper! Harper!
Defeat!
Harper!
Social media is happening right now that needs to happen more and more often. You guys have actually, in one kind of sense, you're breaking the law, a bunch of lawbreakers. You guys are actually looking at what Harper is trying to make you look at. You are standing up for your rights, you're standing up for the environment, and this is what you're supposed to do when you're facing that kind of government. But also as a collective group, and this kind of thing needs to be a fair amount. So I'm standing with everybody, and I'm also going to help stir the pot a lot more. Here's to everybody.